Chapter 2. Sarah dug inside Frederick's bag and pulled out a pouch of food. She doubted he'd eat it. He wasn't really a foodie, and with all the excitement of a new place to explore, that would distract him. They were both lone adventurers in a new land of rugby and sheep, and of very, very attractive actresses who were good-natured, considering Sarah ripped off her entire passenger wing of her car. Nia seemed to love Frederick, and had spent an hour attempting to play with him. She really should have told Nia that the tennis ball was half Frederick's size, and that he'd hide. But Sarah, well, she wasn't really au fait with dogs, and trying to explain that he was actually her ex-girlfriend's dog, and that she'd opted, and who had left her when she'd opted for Bryn Cariad and not St. Thomas in central London, would be too much information. She hadn't even told Nia's dad that she hadn't even wanted to be a GP. She'd wanted to be a urologist. But being a surgeon took steady hands and coordination, and clumsy didn't really go that well with scalpels. Now Nia was on her hands and knees with a cheeky grin. Nia Jenkins, a woman Sarah watched every week. In scrubs. She was on that flagstone floor in a Christmas jumper complete with a musical jingle, wrestling with Frederick, who thought he was a Great Dane. Just how did one make small talk with a puppy wrestling actress? "It must be hard trying to smuggle him in and out of the surgery," Sarah said in a beautiful sing-song Welsh accent. Now, a character on the show was an Oxford graduate, and had a fitting upper-class accent. But the Welsh burr was, so much more pleasant. "Doubt dogs are allowed." "Guide dogs and assistance dogs are," though she wasn't sure what Frederick could a guide or assist with, because he'd probably sleep in a shoe instead of pull it off somebody's foot for them. "Well, he'd look cute in yellow." Frederick sprinted at Nia, yapping away, and she rolled him onto his back with a swish of an elegant hand and tickled him until his leg twitched. "Not sure if you'd qualify to be guided, though." "Unless you count my driving." Sarah leaned onto the table. Nia lifted him up, placed him next to the source of water, and stroked him. Then she stood up and stretched out her back. "Good thing he was with you, because he'd have been really upset in the house on his own." Sarah nodded. "He comes everywhere with me." "What made you buy a dog, then? As cute as he is?" Nia eyed her. Her blonde hair was shorter than it was on the show, and more highlighted, but there were lots of hints of red in it, and her green eyes were blue on the show, and her skin was actually much paler in person. "I didn't buy him." This was one awkward conversation she wanted to avoid. I acquired him." "Ah, break up then." Nia grinned, then took Frederick to the back door and opened it. "Are you stealing him?" She was too tired to give chase if that was the case. I mean, surgery had started at 8 a.m. and it was, she checked her watch, 9 p.m. now. "No, he needs the toilet." Nia raised her eyebrow, then smiled a cheeky smile. "And where would I go? You're in my parents' house." Now that took brain cells Sarah had obviously battered in the collision. "You'll set the iron on me." She met Ian twice. He was a gastroenterologist, a spectacular trauma surgeon, and a work-focused networking doctor who did not shut up about gardening. She'd never really been attracted to those qualities, and she had a pollen allergy. Now, he'd called her a few times, and she'd completely forgotten to pick up. Funny that. "You pull that face whenever I mention him." Nia cheered at Frederick and fussed him. "Why?" Next, she hoisted Frederick up in her hand and strolled over the table, where she tucked him back into his bag. "Don't worry about it. Mum and Dad always try setting him up with the new registrars and new blood." Sarah liked the Jenkins family. She did. Dr. Jenkins was very thorough, and he knew all his patients. He wasn't always up to date, but he did listen when she showed him a new BNF guideline or the latest research. Now, Reverend Jenkins, his wife, was boisterous, jolly, with a run of physique and more energy than anyone Sarah had ever met. And she didn't want to disappoint them because, well, she disappointed her own family enough. How do I make them give up on the idea? Well, they're not tup. Nia studied her, eyes flicking over her face in a familiar way, an intimate way. Then she smiled. Just tell them you're gay. Sarah blinked a few times. Twp? Stupid yn Gymraeg, in Welsh. Nia leaned on her fist, amusement in her sparkly green eyes. Then they'll try setting you up with me. Now that idea was far more welcome, as was the Welsh. Sounded a lot smoother on Nia's tongue. Sarah cleared her throat. Possibly too welcome. Well, that would be awkward considering our violent history. Indeed. Nia held Sarah's gaze, her tone soft, and the door opened. Then Nia stroked her cheek with the warm pad of her thumb and pulled away. Look what rabble turned up on my doorstep. Reverend Jenkins dashed through the door, then looked up, threw her hat onto the hook, scurried across the kitchen, yanked Nia to stand, squeezed her until Nia grunted, then pushed her back to fuss her hair. You've lost weight again. You may be busy, girl, but you're never too busy to eat, said Reverend Jenkins, who was so slight. What can I say? Single living means skipping meals. Nia kissed her on the head. They had the same smiley energy. Practice what you preach. Reverend Jenkins chuckled. Are you coming to the service? She checked her watch. You'll have to come to the service. She glanced over and then grinned as she met Sarah's gaze. Oh, you'll definitely have to come to the service now. 2 extra bums on pews. I'll have to break out the microphone, see? She grinned. I love using a microphone. Service? Oh, that didn't sound like fun. Don't look so scared, girl. There's wine and there's Christmas trees and there's carols. Reverend Jenkins beamed at her. And I can get the entire service done in under an hour. She nodded like that was highly impressive. Then you'll get more wine, but then it's mulled then. You like mulled wine? Sarah's having the I don't think I'm welcome moment, Nia said with a smile. She's missed the whole fact that you're actually a woman in a dog collar. True. Well, I've never really been to church. Reverend Jenkins walked over and took Sarah's hands with soft, warm ones. Then think of it as discovering something fun. Do you think anything with me is going to be involved? Is going to be boring? No. Sarah liked her job. She could mimic fascination. Good. As you ploughed near scrap heap into Mr. Jones's wall, you're both stuck here. We'll have to show you the traditional Welsh Christmas. At least our way. Reverend Jenkins winked at her. And the gentleman snoring in here, she peered in the bag, is welcome too. How? Sarah frowned. How did you know about the war? Nia chuckled at her. It's a small village. And Mr. Jones has a loud voice. She pressed her nose on a snowman jumper, and it danced about and sang, Let us know, let us know, let us know. Traditional might just surprise you. Nia held her gaze, her eyes so full of fun and laughter. Welsh and traditional will knock your socks off. Reverend Jenkins looked from Nia to Sarah and kinked her eyebrow, then grinned like she was up to something. Oh, why not? Let's go on then. Sarah mumbled. A traditional Welsh Christmas. Well, this could be interesting.